Hello everyone, welcome to bio classes. Today we will study different biogeochemical cycles. So in this chapter we will study about water cycle, carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle. Let us know what is biogeochemical cycle. According to Odom 1971, the chemical elements including all the essential elements of the protoplasm tend to circulate in the biosphere in characteristic paths from environment to organism and back to the environment. These more or less circular paths are known as biogeochemical cycles. Bio refers to living organisms and geo refers to Earth. The term biogeochemical implies the biological, geological and chemical factors are all involved in the process. So let us start water cycle. Interchange of water between atmosphere, land and sea and between living organisms and their environment is accomplished through water cycle. Water cycle or hydrological cycle involves evaporation, transpiration and precipitation. Solar energy evaporates water from the ocean, rivers, lakes and other water bodies. Plants extract water from the soil through the roots and transport it to the leaves from where it evaporates. This process is called transpiration or evaporation of water from leaves is known as transpiration. Wind and air move the water vapor through the atmosphere. When the temperature falls or temperature reduces, the vapor condenses into tiny droplets that form clouds. The next stage is precipitation, means falling from a height as rain or snow, mostly over the ocean and partly over land. The water that falls on land may percolate through the soil and collect in aquifers, or the water may flow back to the oceans as runoff through the rivers and streams. So this is water cycle. Let us see this diagram. Here we will found this is ocean, lake, these are groundwater, all waters, ocean water, and this is surface run of water. All are evaporated through the solar or sunlight or from the heat of the sun. Evaporation takes place and it will remain as clouds, and when it will cool down, precipitation takes place and it will drop as rain on the surface, and it will also come to ocean surface and different lands. This is also takes place. So water evaporates and cool down and come to the earth. This is the circular path of the water. So this is known as the water cycle. Next comes the carbon cycle. Carbon dioxide constitutes 0.035% by volume of the atmosphere, and yet it is vital to life since energy transfer occurs in the consumption and storage of carbohydrates and fats. Carbon moves to the ecosystem with flow of energy. The source of nearly all carbon found in the living organisms is carbon dioxide, which is found in free state in atmosphere and in dissolved state in the water on the earth. Green plants, known as the producers, use carbon dioxide through photosynthesis. In the presence of sunlight and carbohydrates is formed. Later on, complex fats and polysaccharides are formed in plants which are utilized by animals. This is a diagram of carbon cycle, the carbon cycle. Here the producers like plants, trees, they utilize carbon in the photosynthesis process, and producers were taken by consumers, decomposers, and they will respire carbon dioxide by excretion, and it will go to the atmosphere. So carbon forms a cyclic manner. Carnivores feed on herbivores, and the carbon compounds are again digested and converted into the other forms. Carbon is released to the atmosphere directly as carbon dioxide in respiration of both plants and animals. By burning fossil fuel like coal, gas, petroleum, carbon is emitted and combines with atmospheric oxygen to make carbon dioxide. In the process of photosynthesis, plants release oxygen. Animals breathe in this oxygen, digest their food that comes from plants, and recombine the carbon and oxygen to make carbon dioxide, which goes back to the plants. This is called carbon cycle. So this is about carbon cycle. Next comes the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle is an example of gaseous biogeochemical cycle. Of all the elements which plants absorb from the soil, nitrogen is most important for plant growth. Nitrogen is required for the synthesis of amino acids, proteins, enzymes, chlorophylls, nucleic acids, etc. The main reserve of nitrogen is atmospheric air, rock deposits, and the living and dead organic matter. Biological nitrogen fixation carries on by some bacteria and blue-green algae brings the nitrogen of the atmospheric pool into the soil or aquatic bodies, from where it is taken up in the biosphere. Abiological nitrogen fixation also provides some nitrogen to the living organisms. Decay of plants and animals, decomposition of wastes yield ammonia, which is converted to nitrite by bacteria Nitrosomonas, and then nitrate by the activity of bacteria like Nitrobacter. The process of denitrification brought about by the activity of bacteria such as Pseudomonas, Thiobacillus, Micrococcus denitrificans, etc., converts nitrates to elemental nitrogen, which is finally added to the atmospheric pool. It should be obvious that the cyclic flow of nitrogen in an ecosystem involves a precise balance of activity of a few species of bacteria so that adequate levels of nutrients are maintained without excessive accumulation of inorganic and organic compounds of nitrogen, which are beyond a certain concentration harmful to a living system. So when we will see the diagram of nitrogen cycle, here we will see nitrogen in the atmosphere as N2. Then nitrogen fixation was done by some bacteria. Nitrogen in the plants, animals. After decomposition of plants, animals, from the decay, ammonia released, ammonia converted into nitrites and nitrates, and finally to atmosphere. It goes to atmosphere forming the atmospheric nitrogen. So this is about nitrogen cycle. So thank you for patience for hearing this topic. Thank you all.